This is the Masters of Fitness podcast.
Welcome to the Masters of Fitness podcast, episode 30. And we have something new for you guys today, right? Do y'all see anything different? What's different about us today, Thad?
Look at our surroundings.
New fancy surroundings.
Look at us. We're fancy in there, aren't we?
We finally get to utilize this nice little billboard you made for us that illuminates.
Yep. Look, nice.
The LED lighting was kicking your behind. It was breaking on you, breaking on me every 5 minutes, but we got it together.
I got it.
So shout out to the guys at A to Z Studios, man. We have a nice podcast set up here. We in a new bigger digs. We have the nice little background screen back there. So yeah. So if you guys thinking about doing a podcast or just want to use the recording studio, man, come check us out over here at A to Z Podcast. And so, man, we got some special guests today. Who we got on the show today, Thad? These are your special guests. Thad's normally he's the popular guy in Beaumont. He knows everybody. I don't know too many people.
Yeah, I don't know
so
about
he makes all the important calls and gets everybody on the show, man. So introduce the guest today, Thad.
All right, I was contacted by this guy over here a little while back about wanting to get into the podcast business. And so I said, why don't y'all just come on the show and see what this thing's all about? So we got Daryl Miller over here, and you got Roy Lassiter. Roy is we'll let him tell us what he's all about here in a minute.
All right, Roy, tell the people about yourself, Roy. What you got
This
going on?
This is a soccer
man?
show.
Who are you? We're talking about, today the show will be about soccer and overall athletic performance. Because I'm a firm believer, like my kids played soccer. They've been playing soccer since they was 3. I just think it's just a good foundational sport for kids to get into. So kind of dig a little deeper into soccer, what these guys got going over at Mid-County Gulf Coast Soccer, and just take a deep dive into the whole organization and youth sports. How does that sound today, guys?
Sounds good, guys.
Sounds good? All right. So both of y'all, tell us about yourselves, man. Who are you? What are y'all? What y'all got going on? The whole 9 yards.
Good. Well, first of all, I thank you for having us out here. Appreciate that. My name is Roy Lassiter. I'm the director of coaching for Gulf Coast Soccer Club. I have been playing professional soccer for 14 years. Played in Costa Rica for 3 years.
Okay.
Played in Italy for a year. Played in Major League Soccer for 9 years. Played at North Carolina State University. And been coaching for now 16 years.
Okay.
Almost 17, and started out as a director. Probably the wrong thing to do. It would have been better just to get my feet wet a little bit, do a little bit of coaching first. But no, I had to.
You jumped straight into the water,
jump right straight into the leadership role.
It's kind of like I'm just going to be a straight GM. I don't want to coach, don't want to scout.
No, messed up more than I got right.
Hey, that's how you learn, though, man. That's how you learn.
But it was fun. That curve of understanding, was a little bit wide, because I didn't have a mentor, right? Didn't have somebody that, I followed.
Show you the ropes.
That's right. Show me how to do it. I just wanted to get in there. And definitely at that time, I was a better soccer player than I was a coach at that time. So over the years, I've gotten a little bit better at it. And now I'm a better coach than I am a soccer player. So I think that's the right progression of it. That's the right look. So now I'm just keep teaching young players and educating adults alike as well, educating coaches also, just giving them my past experiences, good and bad, good corrected and errors all together. And just so they can get it right for our players. At the end of the day, it's all about the players.
That's it. All about the kids. Sometimes as parents, we forget that. It's about the kids.
That's right.
So, all right, Daryl, what about you, man?
Well, I make my living outside of sports. I work in industrial automation, so I have a day job. But I got involved with sports probably 25 years ago through my kids, like a lot of people do, volunteering to coach and helping out and do whatever need to be done. Next thing you know, you're one of the more experienced people in the room. Everybody's looking to you for answers and how to do things. And so I jumped in and started helping. And in the last few years, my kids have been playing at Gulf Coast, and I've helped them kind of operate the club and do strategic planning and trying to figure out how to raise the level in our club and in our region and things like that. So that's how Roy and I crossed paths, just looking for somebody to come in and fill this role that we had at the club and help us take it to the next level.
So y'all like the dynamic duo right here. Yeah. Progressing soccer in the area. That's good.
Yeah.
So, Roy, how is it going from being a player to transition to be a coach? Because every player can't be a coach, right? So when did that light switch be like, okay, I can't be a player and put these expectations that, like as a player, you expect certain things, you know how to do it. So it seemed like you would get kind of like have that impatience. What was the hardest thing making that transition over into coaching and directing from being just a straight player?
Well, first of all, it was a difficult transition from being not being a professional athlete. First of all, I had to transition myself to that, so it took a little bit of adaptation for me to do that. For me, as a coach, I had to learn a lot of things, and as a player. So it just didn't start when I finished, soccer. It was going on when I was an athlete. I was a reader of the game. I was a student of the game. So I studied the game then. I always watched coaches in my latter part of my career, just watched how coaches did things, and then wanted to have a rhyme and reason why they did things. When I was a younger playing, coach told me to do something, I just do it.
Yeah.
But then I started looking at things and like, why is coach doing it like this? And why is he doing it like that? And then trying to analyze it too. And then trying to say, well, if I had the training session, this is how I would do it. And just all those kind of things. And as a forward player, I was always studying movement, because as a forward, you don't have the ball much.
Yeah.
So you have to, it's a lot of movement off the ball. The midfielders usually have the ball the most. Defenders usually have the ball the most. The strikers usually do not. And so,
so for the non-soccer folks, what is the forward actually, when they looking at a soccer game, what would the forward be positioned?
The forward would be positioned close to the goal. So
close to the goal, okay.
So the forward is the person that scores the goals, or one of their main objectives is to score.
Okay.
Put the ball in the back of the goal.
All right.
So that's
how you make that's how y'all make your money.
That's right. So,
okay.
So that's it's a lot more pressure as you get closer to the goal, to the objective, like any other sport. And so I studied it then. I was around a lot of midfielders that were high caliber, man, world class players. I mean, you go to their countries, they got statues when you arrive at the airport. That kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that kind of status. So I'm learning from these guys. And when I was younger as a professional, I didn't have those type of players around me. But then as I got older, I started having those real special players that I knew that all I needed was somebody like that to really make my career go. And so I kind of already was in that type.
Okay.
And to be a coach, man, you got to kind of be a person that is kind of a people person, because all people are going to be different. You got to have that patience, like you talk about. You definitely have that, because as an athlete, as a professional athlete, you expect most. That's why you don't have most professional athletes, high-end professional athletes, as youth coaches. Because it does take that patience, right? There's a breakdown of it. There's a huge breakdown of how a person actually traps the ball and kicks the ball and shoots the ball. It's big, and most of those players, they don't have the patience for it. They expect to get you, and you already know how to pass, and you already know how to shoot,
know how to do everything.
Already know how to do everything. So it does take some patience.
Okay. What about you, Daryl? Any experience coaching, or you just?
Well, I've been coaching for over 25 years. So I started out and just continued just to being a continuous learner. Whatever my kids played, they played every sport, but I've always just tried to learn as much as I can so I could be the best I could be. And I've always looked to people who had more knowledge and experience than I had to try to learn from. So, but I've been coaching for quite a while.
Okay, good. So a lot of experience in youth sports over here and just sports overall. So why soccer? Why soccer? Why? What drew you guys to soccer? What drew your kids to soccer, and what drew you to soccer?
Well, I'll tell you what. I started playing multiple sports as a young athlete. As a young person, I was playing basketball and baseball and soccer, and I was playing those three sports. And soccer just got the better end of it, because that was just a sport that was always moving. It was always going. I started at a young age, at 5 years old. I started in the boys' club when I was 7 years old. When I started scoring goals, I really just liked that part. I was still raw as a player, just a runner.
Athlete.
I was an athlete.
Yeah.
I was just an athlete. No one really said, hey, let me get you better, and worked on my details. But no, I started in the boys' club, and I just really liked it, and I just kept going with it, and I felt successful in it. Obviously, if I didn't, I probably would have quit, but I just felt successful in it, and I just had to be moving. Baseball had to be the pitcher or the shortstop.
Yeah.
I couldn't just be in the outfield waiting for a ball.
Because not too many kids hitting the ball that deep.
Yeah, it ain't, waiting to be fast and catch on to the ball. Football wasn't even in the equation, because most people don't get to touch the ball in football, so didn't like that. But basketball I did like a lot. You know, I was very fond of basketball. I like that. Similar movements to soccer, helps with fitness. But I really did like basketball. I just found out that, you know, I probably wasn't going to be 6'3", 6'4".
I know, yeah.
So you know, that kind of went out the window. But I just stuck with soccer.
Okay, cool. Why did you push your kids towards soccer? Did you push them towards, or did they
No,
naturally gravitate
I
towards it?
encourage my kids to play everything.
Okay.
When they were young, I encouraged them to experiment and play multiple sports, and they did. My oldest one didn't play soccer as much. She liked basketball and volleyball. The two younger ones really liked soccer a lot, and they got in it, so it kept me involved in it. But then over a period of years, you become a big fan of the game too. It's a fascinating game. It's something I've really enjoyed more and more. So it's been fun to be involved in it.
I remember they had Manchester Derby, came to the Reliance Stadium, and I had to get tickets, and it was and I've never seen that level of soccer. You know, you see it on TV, so you don't have, I don't want to say a lack of respect, but just don't understand how much of an athletes these guys are, and just seeing them move on the field blew me and my buddy was like, man, okay. we didn't know when to cheer or when not to cheer, so we just kind of just like followed the crowd, but it was an amazing sport. Like, just to see the speed, the athleticism, and just understanding the game of soccer was huge, man. It was, like you said, just seeing that next level of players come down and play. Like, these guys can play football if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, this ain't just some little people playing soccer out here, though. So go ahead.
I want to ask Roy, at what point did you figure out that soccer was going to be it? You know, you played all these other sports, and at one point in time, something had to happen, and you're like, all right, this is it. We're going for it.
There were several things that happened. First of all, still playing all three of those sports nearly up until high school. Well, I started figuring out basketball. I just, I was going to be the point guard, and that's going to be about it,
You can be shoveling the ball off to everybody else to score.
Yeah.
Huh?
I think I was a better passer and a dribbler than I was a shooter. Football was just not happening. I just didn't
wasn't getting with it.
I was going to either be the quarterback or I was going to be the wide receiver. I definitely wasn't going to be the running back because I wasn't all stocky and strong. And so I just figured out that wasn't going to happen. And then soccer, I just took to it because, I was fast. I used those virtues of mine to get behind players and to get by players. And I like manipulating the ball and dribbling. And then I like shooting. So I would say around the high school is where I cut things off and just stayed just with soccer. And this was before high school, right? Just before high school, I said, I want to do this. And, that's how that came about.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing that both of y'all said, both of y'all kids, you played all sport and both of your kids played all sports. So why do you think now is such a pressure to specialize? Like, my kids play all sports. So, like, you play baseball, and it's, oh, man, we got to play baseball year-round, sign up for this league. Why is it such an emphasis now on specializing in one sport at such an early age as compared to back in the day?
Well, I think there's just not too many people that can do multiple sports and be very, very good at it. I mean, when you're going to be youth and then your parents are paying a lot of money for you to play in these sports, they're probably going to, they're looking at your talents too.
Yeah.
So they're not going around throwing, $2,000-$3,000 around and saying, let's just see if you're going to be good, and they can kind of tell where you are and where your interests are. Listen, no one is going to throw you anywhere. Either you want to be good at it or not. Your parents just got to say, hey, here's the opportunity. You can have it. But at the end of the day, if they see that your interest is not there, then they're probably not going to continue to do that. They're going to put you in environments that is just better tailored for you, and then go from there. You got to be the athlete has to be able to fall in love with the sport. That's when they're going to grow the most. Right. Not pushing them. Hey, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go there. And I tell you why. Now that our country is getting a little bit better, is because we're having a little bit more of educated instructors. We're a little bit better in our education. It was a failure for the U.S. national team to not qualify for the World Cup. It was
tough. That's when we get excited for soccer. The one time we get excited for it, is when the World Cup comes up or the Olympic comes up.
That's correct. And when and you know America has so many sports, man. I mean,
Yeah.
we're good in a lot of things.
Everything, yeah. So
America-
soccer not there is okay. We're gonna go watch football. We're
That's
gonna
right.
go watch swimming now.
That's
so
right.
yeah,
That's right. We're in everything. You go Olympics, we're in everything. Americans are around all over.
Yeah.
They got all kind of sports. But when we're athletic, we got good athletes. We got all these facilities. We got all this technology. We got everything.
we can analyze everything: kick speed, spins, turn rate,
everything.
touch rate, whatever you name. We got a a computer that can analyze it and tell you what your kid good at and good at.
Correct. But at the end of the day, it's that player, it's that child.
Do they love the sport?
Do they love the sport?
Yeah.
I got a child too. I got a son that's 26. I got a daughter that's 14. So my son plays with the Houston Dynamo.
Okay, cool.
In Major League Soccer, he's been playing now since he was 19. He's 26 now. But growing up, I showed him everything. I didn't let him get into any organized soccer until after I got a hold of him and could see what he liked and could be around him. So I was his companion for soccer.
Yeah.
Some have siblings, but it was just him and I. And so teaching him, and I wanted to teach him the right way, the fundamentals, the basic principles. And so just having that for him until he really got into organized soccer. He became really wise the first time I stuck him. The one time I did stick him into a recreational environment, and he saw everybody just following the ball, right? But he became smart, and he was like just looking at them, and it's like, why are they just doing that? Until the ball pops out, and then he goes to get it, then he runs down the field, then puts the ball in the back.
Yeah.
Of the Okay, intelligent, but no one taught him that. I just stuck him on the field.
Stuck them on the field. Yeah.
But they got to fall in love with it, though.
Okay. That's some good advice. Just watch your kids, just watch what they like, just see what they naturally gravitate towards and fall in love with. So good stuff.
Yeah.
So soccer, just keeping it in the same tone that you guys we were just discussing. Is soccer is a huge sport worldwide. You leave out of the U.S., it's soccer. South America, Asia, Europe, Australia, it's soccer. Why do we don't have that hype here? And this, like you say, you have Gulf Coast soccer, we have Beaumont Youth Soccer, which are pretty big. So what do you think how can we elevate that to get our athletes to stick with soccer? Or just more, like you say, so we have the facilities, we have top-notch everything here, but it seemed like it's somewhere along the way we just like, people are like, oh, well, no more soccer. We're going to put you in football, put you in baseball.
Well, first of all, it goes back to educating the instructor. We got to have better educated coaches. And not only educating our coaches, we have to educate our parents because the parents are there too. And the game is evolving. And so parents can kind of see things and, understand things by seeing, but we want to educate them more in depth into the game because they're ultimately going to go away and have their own child. They're going to be with their child more than we're going to be with them as coaches and instructors. We have to continue to educate ourselves as coaches. And as we continue to educate ourselves, then we can educate our players, and then we can educate our parents. But until then, it becomes tough. And we go, well, what happened here? Well, I mean, why is it so big in all these other places, and then over here in the U.S., no? Well, one thing we got a lot of sports.
Okay.
We got a lot of sports, man. They can pick a lot of things to
From
do.
6 years old, you can pick 20 different sports you want to play.
Equestrian and swimming and gymnastics and just everything, man.
And they all cost money.
And, more than soccer.
Yeah, they all cost money.
More than soccer.
Don't get me started on gymnastics. That's a money grab.
Yeah. Okay.
You got to
my bad.
You got to pay to play for gymnastics.
I think it's evolution too. If you look at the, soccer in this country is about where basketball and our NBA was back in the 50s, or the Major League Baseball and the National Football League within the 30s and 40s. And they're going through that now. They're trying to get into Europe. The NBA's going to Europe.
Yes, what you're saying. Yeah.
So in those countries where soccer is dominant, they probably think the same thing. What's it going to take?
How it takes to get back? So I see what you're saying. So it's kind of we just behind in the popularity of the sport.
And soccer was basically it come from Europe, right? So it's been there for 150 years. It's been here for roughly 30 or 40
Okay,
50
that makes it. That's a great way to put it. We just you say, if you take how other countries look at basketball and maybe even baseball, they're trying to say, well, why isn't it as popular here? Okay, that makes more sense.
You want to talk about being popular in these other countries. Roy said you played in Costa Rica, right?
Yes.
Okay. I went to Costa Rica, I don't know, it's been 6-7 years ago. And we were down, we were in some small areas, down on the peninsula. And we went a lot of places and normal tourists probably wouldn't go. But you'd be going through all these little towns. Every single one of them right in the middle of town would have a big church and a soccer field.
For sure.
Right in the middle. And there was people everywhere at every single one of them you went to.
That's right. And
it was really cool to see.
And listen, we got a ton of kids that play soccer in America. I guarantee you go up to most kids, and I bet one out of if 3 sports is going to be soccer that they play.
Oh yeah,
they probably play.
My boys love soccer.
Yeah,
they ask to play soccer every season.
They do.
So
they do. So again, it goes back to the mentor that they have around them. We have to make it enjoyable. We have to continue to make it enjoyable, and we have to teach the details to our players. If we bypass that, then they fail, and they want to get out of sport quick. They'll be out by 10, 11, 12. They're already out, and we're like, why? I think sometimes our parents are so, you got to do this and you got to do that and you got to be perfect and you got to do this. And
they don't give the kids time to just perfect the game and learn it.
That's correct.
You can't out-athlete everything.
And we got to do it the right way as coaches, right? We got to make sure we put the players first. The coach can't be the first. See, the main focus on the field may be that the coach has good learning education, because without that, then can't educate the player. Right. Yeah. How am I? If the average person just can't just hop on the field and start teaching if they haven't played the game or haven't educated themselves. So it starts with the coach, and then as the coach starts to instruct, then it's almost like, well, coach, you get on the field and see how you play. Look, man, I didn't even realize how hard this game was.
Yeah.
When I was a professional, no, because I prepared for it, right? But now that I'm not on the field now, and I get on it occasionally, and I can play it occasionally, I'm like, man, this game is hard.
It's hard. You're not conditioned for it, yeah.
Right?
Right. I wouldn't even attempt to go out on a soccer field.
Yeah, my buddy tried to get me to play. I've never played soccer before. Watch it all the time, enjoy watching it. He tried to get me to come out and say, man, I'm not about to blow a hamstring. First thing I do out there is get out there, try to overrun, overkick the ball, and embarrass myself. Yeah. So I actually saw they was playing indoor, and I went to watch them play. And I was in there thinking it's going to be some, it was our ExxonMobil League, but it was some, we have a very multicultural company. And so I went in there thinking it would be some guys that know and say, nah, these dudes knew what they was doing. Yeah. I was like, okay, like you said, like how we look at a group of guys going to play pickup basketball, they was taking pickup soccer seriously. I walked in there with my bag, my shoes. I sat down, watched for 15 minutes, got up and walked out. Not about to embarrass old Ernest out here today. So how are y'all doing things at over there at Gulf Coast Soccer? What makes y'all soccer league so popular over there? What have y'all done to kind of help grow the sport in Mid-County?
Well, I think first of all, it's getting all our staff all on the same page. That's first and foremost. Creating a methodology. We have to think the same. We have to understand the game the same. We have to break the game down the same. We have to have game models and training models and player development models, just so coaches can understand. So my main job is to coach the coach, train the coach, educate the coach. And yes, I'm director of coaching. That doesn't mean I'm going to be able to hit every player. My main thing is to be very, very close to the coaches, and help them out as much as I can. Demonstrate, illustrate. I do training sessions as well. Coaching education, seminars, and really show how our game model and our principles of how we want to play. In Gulf Coast, we want to have a style about what we want to do. And that style encompasses a lot of principles of the game, basic principles of the game, so everybody can understand. This is from rec, this is select, this is academy, and into our premier type programs. Mm-hmm. So we want to do that. We want to create an intelligent player. And one says, all right, what's intelligence? Well, intelligence is kind of decision making. Mm-hmm. And in order to make a very good decision, you got to be aware. You got to be able to see. You don't have to be fast for that. You don't have to be big and strong for that. You don't have to be tall for that. So those are just hereditary traits that one has. We want to build a intelligence so they are cognizant of it. They're
The thinking part of it.
Thinking part of it. And once they get the thinking part of it down, that's it. They do it unconsciously. They do things unconsciously. Movement unconscious. They can start to work on their technique because we want their technique. It has to be combined with technique as well, because that encompasses passing and shooting and dribbling and all those kind of things. And we want to continue to work on those at a young age. And so that's really what it's all about. And it's a lot of meetings. It is a lot of meetings. You know, small meetings, big meetings, but we got to get on the same page.
It's the dedication.
It
the
is.
dedication, the synergy, as some would say, in regards to right purpose and direction.
Well, you know, the fact that they're going through the amount of trouble that they're going through to educate everybody, the coaches, the players, everybody, that really says a lot. You know, I'm a baseball guy. I've played baseball all my life and everything. Right now, I'm helping coach a Little League baseball team. Little League baseball, the only thing they're going to give you for education is a rule book. You see what I'm saying here?
Exactly.
So, I mean, I'm not talking bad about baseball. Baseball's been around for a long time, but you get out here in these leagues and you go watch a lot of these games, and sometimes you almost feel sorry for the kids because you know they're not getting coached right. You know, they got some dad out there coaching this little 7 and 8 year olds, or you get up to the 9 and 10 year olds that never really played the game before and don't even know the fundamentals.
Or how to relate that to a 7-year-old.
Yes.
Correct.
It's not just about, it's not like you ain't going to coach a 7-year-old like you coach a 16, 17-year-old. Yes.
Yeah. No. I mean, me personally, right now I'm dealing with 9 and 10 year olds or 8 and.
Dad, we know how you coach.
Yeah,
I know how you coach that.
You know, I mean, they're really cool to deal with at this age. You know, I mean, they look at you, their eyes. Most of the time, their eyes are all wide. You know, and they're like, "Oh, you do this. Oh, okay." You know, yes, sir. I'm gonna go do it. You know, they're really moldable at this age.
Yeah, I think the best thing is try not to be so vague with your instructions to our players. They need details, and that takes constant monetization from a leader.
Yeah, I think that's impressive.
Always have to be there at training. Always have to be monitoring. Always have to be involved. Maybe there are times that I just jump in there now. Always be respectful of the coach. Coach, you mind if I jump in for about 10 minutes with it? Oh, yeah, do it. And I jump in there and I do something with them, and I go to another training session, and I see all the training sessions every night. And then I'm at the games on the weekend because I want that to translate. I want that to translate from training to game and the things and that's why we have models. You know, this is we want to play like this, but before we can play like this, we have to train like this. So it comes out in the game, and that's what those are for.
Some good stuff. Like, because you're right. Like, most of the time, the coach will tell you, kick the ball harder. Go score a goal. Keep it like, I don't know. I don't know how to kick it harder. So,
go track that ball down.
Go track that ball down.
I'm about 20 yards from the.
Don't chase the other guy at the ball. Well, what I'm supposed to do, coach? It's a soccer ball. I'm supposed to hit it.
Exactly.
I remember one guy told me when my daughter was playing softball, he was like, man, I thought I could never hit a baseball because I was always striking out until I realized I never had nobody really coach me on how to hit a ball. And like that was saying, a lot of these kids who love the game, love soccer, baseball, whatever game it may be, get left behind because they aren't those, like you say, they don't pick things up naturally. So the coaches tend to not spend the time with teaching them those fundamentals, and they unfairly get left out of the game because they aren't taught the right way at an early age, or like given that direction like you guys offer in your soccer league. So it's real good.
I coached softball and basketball as well, and I used a lot of the things I learned coaching soccer because the education in soccer was a lot better, and translated that into how I ran training sessions in those other sports and things. So
it all crosses over. Coaching is like leadership. It all crosses over. Like, how can I translate this down to each kid? Because each kid is going to receive something differently.
True.
You can't coach every kid the same way.
True. Some
kid might be out there playing in the field, so you got to approach him differently. It's not that he's not interested, especially at a young age. You got to grab his attention, and it can be tough, but you got to be patient with it, though.
That is correct.
You got to be patient with it, though.
The biggest thing about soccer too is it's a player's game. It's not a coach-driven game. There's no timeouts. There's no plays.
Man, so
the player has to be trained to read and make decisions and execute the game. No matter how much you want to manipulate the game from the sideline, it's very, very difficult.
And that's the one thing I learned about soccer is when you're watching a good soccer match, there's no taking a break. You sit there, you glued in until, and that's what one sportscaster say everybody should love soccer because there's no commercial breaks. it's literally just action for what 45 minutes. Then you got the extra time, the half, then another 45 minutes, and that's it. And there's no substitutions. It's just like
Man,
go.
First time I watched a soccer game and the guy got hurt in the game and everybody just run past him. He's just laying on the ground. They're not going to take a timeout or nothing. What's up?
Just roll his behind off the field and let's keep it moving. So
I like that.
So, man, that's good. Just so in y'all's particular league, I remember you mentioned the different levels of like rate play, select, premier. So it kind of explain how that all breaks down to people.
Well, I mean, all players develop at different times and different moments during their youth careers. And at Gulf Coast Soccer Club, we want to have a place for every single player. Even though a player may be on one team, there's still variations of talent on each team. And we want to put like talented players together. We feel that they grow better together when they do that. It doesn't allow the coach to say, oh, well, you know what, we can't teach you this because there are about 3 or 4 players that maybe can't get this and can't do that. And no, that's why we have to really monitor our players, know where they should be. We have evaluations 2-3 times a year, just so we're educating our players on where they are, educating our parents on where their players are, so they don't hear for the first time when it comes up to a tryout and, oh, my kid didn't make the team, why is that? And you never sat down with them, you never helped them, you never told them what their deficiencies were, you never gave them 3 or 4 things to really work on for that next moment when now they got to make a decision if you're going to make that team for next year. We want that education the whole entire year. For me, kind of shouldn't be any tryouts, but because you should know where that player is.
Yeah, you should know where your son. If they haven't put the time in or developed those skills, then don't let. I'm not saying don't have them try out, but just let's continue to develop their skills so they could eventually be at that level.
Right, that's correct.
Because then you get a kid that's just discouraged.
That's right.
They think.
So there are different levels.
Yeah,
and we want to put players in the level where they can get in, and they can adapt fast, and they can grow. It's all about advancement. We want them to move. We don't really want them to stay stagnant where they are. We want them to develop, to get it, and go. Players that are put in too high of an age group, they tend to crash after a couple of years. They can tend to like, oh, I don't get it anymore, or I'm not fast enough anymore. So where would you put that player then? So we want it is very critical. It's like school. It's like school. It's like education in school. We want to put the player in the right environment for their development. We don't need them to play 2 years up just to make the team good.
Yeah.
Just make the numbers.
Yeah, it makes numbers. Yeah. Let's develop them at
the right age, right time, when they're good. And we go, hey, if this player is doing really, really good, they're really, really developing past the other players, well, maybe we let them practice with a higher level team.
That's a good point. But not play with them, just practice. See how they
until we see how they do. We don't put too much on them, and then as we see them developing a little bit more, okay, maybe you do go to one game. You go to a game with an older team, a higher level. You go to that game, and then you be a part of that environment and see how that environment is. So we take little incremental steps with their development. It's just like another level. Everybody says, hey, I want to get you to your another level. Well, another level could be as thin as a piece of paper.
Right.
And that is another level.
Cool. So we have a question. We're going to switch. I have a question from Mr. Chris Hanna. No, I'm talking from Lisa Allen. She asked a question: how is Gulf Coast keeping their parents interested in coaching? That seems to be kind of I don't want to say an issue we have, but you always get that email when we're searching for coaches here in Beaumont. So how are you keeping your guys interested in coaching? What are y'all doing? I don't know if that's a good smirk or a bad smirk.
We are. It is a challenge because a lot of people are busier all the time. You have mom and dad are both working, and sometimes they're working shift work or turnarounds and things like that in the area that we're in.
Man, you hit the nail on the head. It's a bunch of refinery workers shift working.
And we always have more kids than we have coaches. So what we do is we Roy puts together the session plans for all the different teams of all the levels, including the recreational, and he sends those out every week. We do coaching education for them. We have one of our staff coaches that's assigned to be a director of coaching just for the recreational.
Okay.
And he roams around, gets to know the coaches, understands what their strengths and weaknesses are, kind of helps them get up to speed and start having success as quickly as we can. We're also starting up a junior coach program, which is really intended for high school age kids who are players who either need volunteer hours or they want to make some extra money or something like that. We can put them in a program where maybe you have a mom or dad that know another sport that don't know soccer, and get somebody to come out there that knows the game a little bit and kind of help them out. So we try to be as creative as we can to make it interesting and easy for volunteer coaches in the recreational program to come up to speed and have success.
Yeah, that was always my biggest fear of coaching is I want to do it, but I know I'm one phone call away from not having a practice. And that's my biggest thing is having a kid miss practices. Like my wife said, you need the coach. I said, I would love to, but I just don't have the time, you know what I'm saying, to dedicate to it. So it's tough because you love, like you said, it's fun working with kids.
That's not a good excuse, though, not having time.
You're right. It's not. But I don't ever want to shortchange the kids, you know what I'm saying, by having a council practice. But you're right. There's no excuse.
I always tell parents, because sometimes you have 4 and 5 and 6-year-old kids, and parents say, well, I can't do it because I don't know anything about it. I'm like, do you enjoy playing with your kids? Can you go outside? Do they enjoy playing? Well, if you can do that, you can coach 4 and 5-year-olds, because the main thing they need to do is have fun, and we can give you all the tools you need to do that.
So, I do provide those tools for parents. It's okay. I'm a parent. My kids are 6 years old, never played soccer. They want to play soccer, but I really wanted to get involved. So y'all do provide those trainings, those tools to kind of help a parent come out there and actually know what they're talking about, know what they're doing, and kind of have an idea of the sport.
The area is evolving, and now you have second generation and probably soon to have third generation players in our club where their parents or their grandparents played. So it's not as bad as it maybe used to be. So it's moving there.
So it's got to give it time to grow and just keep feeding the system is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Keep feeding it. That's good. Okay, good stuff. What you got, Thad?
Man, I'm just listening to these guys. No, I'm impressed with the operation they got going on over there. I really am. You know, all educating the coaches and the players and everybody. I mean, that really says a lot for an organization.
Yeah. We have also players in development, and that happens every month. It's on like a webinar from the Houston Dynamo Academy in Houston, and Paul Holliker, who's the academy director there, he always puts that on, and that allows our club, our coaches, and anyone involved in our staff or parents as well. They can kind of chime in and listen to different high-level coaches from around the world, and it's always somebody from academy. It's always about youth. It's always about development. It's always about training. It's always about that where parents can really listen in and coaches can listen in and just hear those. And sometimes we have to record them because people are like kind of working at those hours because it's kind of in the day. And so that's a way that they can listen in and be further educated as well.
Good stuff. So you could correct me if I'm wrong on that, but like I said before, I always wanted my kids to play soccer 'cause I believe it just gives you that hand-eye coordination at a very young age. It's one of the few sports where you could literally roll a ball out to a 1-year-old or 2-year-old, and they could just start kicking it around, just learning how to play. So what is the naturally part of soccer that kind of aids in developing an athlete at an early age as compared to other sports?
Yeah, I think just showing players the small details of the game first and foremost, right? And then giving a player maybe some homework to take. And we have a program in our club called Soccer Starts at Home.
Okay.
And
they got all the programs. Y'all got it figured out. I'm sorry. Y'all got it figured out over there, man.
Where we have skill moves for players and parents for the very, very young kid that wants to learn and develop the game, and for the parent that wants to teach their player as well. And so those are little skill moves. Let's just say a parent wants to teach their player how to do certain skill moves and be more familiar with the ball. And so these are skill moves that come out all the time, and it allows the player, parent and player to see this, to watch this, and actually practice it. You know, they could be in their home, they could be in their garage, they could be in the backyard, and then a lot of those things are brought to training, and then they work on that. And we're having homework for our players too as well to take home, especially our young players, a skill move, and they take it home and they come back the next day at training, and they need to work on that move, and where they show us that move, and they get really excited about that as well.
Let's go. So homework, huh? You give my boy some homework when you walk out the door. So how are you guys managing the player retention as kids get older with soccer, and y'all particularly? You know, once you get up to that 7th and 8th grade, you get the pull from the other sports more because they're in middle school. So how are y'all managing that?
Well, the best that we can, right?
Yeah.
The first and foremost, we want to stay true to what we do, and that's stick to development. And those players that maybe a middle school, maybe say high school starts, and maybe you have a player there that's just not in high school yet, and we want to keep them training, and we want to keep those same age group training players training as well. So we have a little training sessions for them also, but also just having our coaches monitor the players that we do have, knowing where they are, staying in contact with them, communicating with them, because we want to keep that retention really good. And it's called monitoring before, let's just say, because normally during a tryout, before that tryout period, we want to definitely have our really good communication on our players.
Okay.
Because before trials, people are thinking, well, what am I going to do, if I'm going to stay, if I'm going to go, whatever. But we want to keep staying in constant communication with our players, knowing where they are, having team camaraderie, bonding things together, and that's really what keeps your players together.
It's that team, that family.
There are legitimate options for players today, more so than in the past, to play beyond high school. You know, whether it's collegiately or professionally. Even on the women's side, there's a lot more professional opportunities for female players too. So, players, they need to keep in the game if they love the game and they want to play beyond high school.
Okay. So area on y'all particular area, what is the map? Like, is there a map drawn with people with kids that I could come play with the Gulf Coast soccer? What particular area do you have to be in?
There's no geographic area. I mean,
Okay.
you can go play for any club that you want. There are kids here that travel to Houston to be on clubs if they want to, so there's no geographic boundary. It's just, I guess the people that are closer to you, it's easier and more convenient for them.
Mm-hmm. So, like, somebody in Beaumont could come play down in your – okay, so it's not like Little League Baseball where you restricted to this particular area that you have to play. Okay.
No.
So how y'all reaching all the communities around to spread? Because it seems like, y'all got a lot of good stuff going on.
It's just hard work and word of mouth and going out and proving it on the field. That's that's what we try to work on every day, and developing the coaches and developing the players, and every day go out and try to be the best you can be and be better than you were yesterday. Right?
Because it's a lot of talented kids out there that just don't know where to play soccer. We'll take Port Arthur for example. Soccer is nothing. I grew up in Port Arthur, never heard of soccer. Not heard of it, but it was no leagues to play.
Yeah,
didn't know anything about the league to play.
On that Port Arthur specifically, though. So we do have probably 25% of our players are from Port Arthur.
Yeah, I would think so.
But it should be more because they're a bigger community. So, but we are working on that.
Yeah. So most of y'all players pulling from just the whole mid-county area right now?
Yeah.
Okay. I have to send my boys down there and see what they
bring
them on.
So look, we have another question here, Ernest.
All right, read it.
This goes to the coaching end of things. It's from Chris Hanna.
Okay.
At what age and effort should you involve agility training in your team's training?
I think you do that as early as possible because speed and agility is critical for the athlete. Period. Hand, foot and hand, and just coordination. But I think that's an important part of the development of a player. Yes, speed and agility, and we do it early. We do it early. We do lots of things with core and just understanding our body, because kids are growing, they're awkward, their bodies are awkward.
Yeah.
So helping them with agility is very important. We know soccer, you need to be agile. So introducing that at an early age is important, and we do that in our club.
Yeah, because unfortunately, there's a lot of these kids these days that sit around and play Fortnite and stuff for hours and hours, and then they just pop up out of this chair and it's like go play baseball or go to soccer practice.
Right.
They've been sitting their butt behind a TV screen
It's a
all
sore
day
spot
long.
for that, if y'all can't tell.
But it's not. No, I mean it's a worldwide epidemic.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
Well, speed and agility is very important during that peak growth year. So for girls, that's usually from 10 to 13 or 14.
Okay.
And for boys, it's probably from 11 to 12, up to 16. And then obviously when they get a little bit older, it's more for injury prevention too,
Right.
and things like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, don't get me started on all that end of things. 'Cause I'm worried. I'm worried about our youth. I really am.
Yeah, I see it too. I see, they need more focus on, stretching and proper stretching.
Right.
And that's really important. I mean, as a professional athlete myself, I mean, if I fail to really stretch well and do the dynamic stretches that I needed to do as an athlete, I wouldn't have played as long as I did.
No.
at all.
Yeah. I agree 100%.
Just injury prevention.
Yes.
I didn't learn about stretching until I was 30 doing CrossFit, and I realized how unmobile I was in life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I see some young players. I mean, very young. I mean, little kids. I mean, 10-year-old. I mean, can't even can't touch the knee, or they can't. They're just not agile at all.
Right.
And I just believe it's just encouraging, like that was saying, just encouraging kids to play. Like encouraging them to play, just be kids, and be natural. Because a kid know how to naturally squat. Like you tell a kid to squat, they squat down perfect form. Yeah. But somewhere down the line, like you said, that mobility is lost by not proper training, proper stretching, and everything like that. So like that, so I turn that TV off and say, y'all just go play. Just play outside. I mean, you ain't got to do nothing serious. You just go run around, jump, kick a pine cone, do something.
Because I'm going to tell you, like, some of these kids that I see, you get them to run a little bit of a distance, and they're just winded. You could have swore they just did a 100-meter racing against Usain Bolt or something.
Usain Bolt.
But I mean, I'm just saying, that's how out of shape I think these kids are getting. Yeah. But it's just our the way things have gone.
The parents gonna realize y'all got control.
Right. But these people that make these games are really, really smart people.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got these kids on a hold.
Look, man,
Absolutely.
I'm a firm believer as a parent, you could take the remote, turn the TV off, take the game and put them up.
That's true. And I do agree with you.
And then the kid has one thing to do. You want to have fun.
But you got parents out there that are probably happy the kids are in there playing the game because they don't have to mess with them.
Right. Need to go outside.
That's what I tell them. Go outside. Y'all making too much noise in the house. I'm lucky my kids having bars. We had a 5-minute conversation before we walked out. I said, whatever y'all do not come in the studio and mess up my recording podcast. So they being good out there. So they probably tearing that hallway up right now. But that's all right. As long as they don't bust in here. So how can guys get in touch? How can parents get in touch with your particular Gulf Coast Soccer and get involved and start getting their kids active in playing soccer? When does the season start? When does it end? And when do y'all run your league schedule and all that throughout the year?
Give them all that rundown, Daryl.
Look, that's Daryl. Look, he said, I ain't.
Well, there's a website, and there's a Facebook page, and there's a Twitter page, so you can connect with us in those ways. We're going through registration right now for the spring season. It's kind of coming to an end, but you could probably still get in some age groups for sure. And then we'll start back up again for the fall. They'll be holding registration for that usually in May and June, and so that'll be right around the corner. It'll be starting that back up.
So you can still get in. When does the spring season start?
It'll start in early April.
Early April? Okay.
Some teams are already playing. Depends on the level, right?
The level?
The recreational, which is the big bulk of players, they'll start early April.
Okay. Do y'all offer camps or anything like that during the summertime? Or
Definitely. Yeah, Roy runs a camp in the summer.
Okay. I'm going to have to get in on that, man.
Yes, sir.
Get in on there. So, Gulf Coast Soccer. So, Roy, I'm going to ask you, played all over the world, right? Costa Rica, played with a bunch of people. Who was the toughest soccer guy you played against? The most talented on your team and the toughest you played against? I was assuming to be a defender, so.
Yeah, Eddie Pope, I would say tough. He's a U.S. He was American.
Okay.
U.S. national team player. Played in the U.S. a lot. Hall of Fame player. Many World Cups, 2 or 3 probably. He's probably the hardest one. He's when we were teammates, I always wanted him to mark with me. I always wanted that. He was the toughest one to get by. And I knew if I worked with him and if I got past him, a couple times, and that was a good day. I got past him a couple times, and he was the best. And I knew when I played somebody else, then I was gonna get past him.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm working with the hardest defender out there, athlete, fast, strong, just like
somebody
me.
that can just manhandle.
Man, just like me, and I'm gonna have to think a lot
Because you can't outrun, you can't out muscle everybody.
No. I mean, you're quick with your mind, right? You're quick. You anticipate with the mind, and that even though I may be fast, but if somebody's thinking faster than me, they are faster. You know,
because they know what to do.
They anticipate faster. If ball's coming over the top, they're already moving.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the ball. I'm getting ready to run because I know I'm fast, but he's already read that move. And he's already
know
made
where the ball is at.
So he looks kind of fast because he thinks faster.
Okay, good stuff. So that'd be the most toughest guy you played against?
That'd be the toughest guy I played against.
Okay.
Yes.
What's the most interesting place you played?
This
is some rapid fire questions.
Interesting. I would say Shanghai.
Shanghai, okay.
Shanghai, China. Yeah. Now this place. You know, everybody got bicycles, all looking the same with different license plates, and I'm like, really? And you go down, you know, the shops and all that kind of stuff. You know how on TV they got, you know, the animals and all that kind of stuff. Oh, that's for real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's for real.
it's a fresh
Yeah.
market. It ain't like going to HEB.
No,
They going to Walmart.
No, none of that. I mean, it's whack in the bag. Here you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was very interesting.
So is that kind of a culture shock for an American players? You know, they have, a lot of times to make the money, you go overseas and play in these different countries. Is it a culture shock going over there to play in different countries like that?
It
Just
is.
being from America where everything is so, we spoiled. Let's just be real. We spoiled here in America. We got everything at the corner that we need. So
well, being on the national team and just being in professional soccer, I've been to 20 different countries. So I've went through a couple passports already, but you know, I've gone to a lot of them where they are seriously interesting. China was one. Hong Kong was another one. You know, these places were just like I would never see those in the United States, right? But having that cultural education, having that ability to be part of that, just broadened my mind a little bit more, right? It just gave me a little bit knowledge of other people's culture, how they are, just dealing with other people the same
makes
way
you a
as
better
well.
person. Gives you a whole different perspective on
But the
things.
people were very good.
Yeah.
Right. The people were really, really good. You know, England and Sweden and Italy and, you know, Russia and, you know, all these places that I've been. And they were really, really good. And I learned a lot there. You know, I was able to learn, you know, Spanish and learn a little bit of Italian too as well.
Okay.
So I know there a lot of those other countries, the fans can get pretty radical. Which country do you feel like the fans were just like the most radical, over the top?
I've just seen some crazy YouTube
I
videos.
would say Costa Rica. They were crazy. Yeah, Costa Rica was really, you know, some radical.
They're pretty passionate over there.
Yeah. Central America, South America too. You know, Bolivia and, you know, Venezuela, where I went. They were extremely. Argentina, I went there. They can be very, very passionate about the game. I mean, they're throwing batteries and coins and
Man.
bags of urine, you know, just all kinds
And
of stuff.
it seems like that fanhood in soccer in different countries is inherited. Like, you were born into rooting for this team. Like, this is all you're going to root for.
Your grandparents were.
Your grandparents were. And then before them were like the Manchester. I'll just say because Manchester United, like, that's it. This is all you're going to root for. You don't root for no other team. You don't want no other jersey. And it's like a passion I've never seen before.
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, city stops, city shuts down, everybody stops, ain't nobody going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, these games become critical, especially at the national team level. They become critical. Everybody's zoomed in on that. Everybody's paying attention to that. While U.S., we just just an ordinary day, you know, whatever. Who's playing today?
Who's playing
whatever.
yeah, what's
Yeah.
what's next? Okay,
Yeah.
basketball on. No, I ain't got time to watch my team
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah.
They got 82 other games they about to play.
In these other countries, everybody knows what day that game is played, who they're playing, and what time they're playing. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
Everybody.
That's good. Some good stuff. I bet you got a lot of interesting stories that could go on forever on a whole nother time, place, and day, just digging deeper into into you guys' head. But switching back to soccer before we run up against that time, but I still got some more personal questions I want to know. So always just thinking about positions soccer-wise, when does a kid normally lock into the position that they were going to play? Like, for example, you have a kid that played goalie. Do you get locked in a goalie to where you can't develop at other positions? It kind of like, is that like a separate skill, kind of like kicking field goals, where you have to just sacrifice everything else to just dedicate that time to being a goalie?
Usually a player will gravitate to what they like to do. Where they usually will gravitate to being a defender, or they'll go gravitate and want to go play forward and want to score goals, or they want to play out in the wing so they can go 1v1 against a player, or they like defending, or they like goalkeeping, But I think us coaches start to look at the player and see where they're best fit for themselves. We try not to do it for a team thing. We try to do it for that player, that individual player, especially as they get older. Okay. And as they get into high school, then they need to hone in on one or two.
What particular position they gonna play?
One or two.
Okay.
It's good to have variety. It's good to be versatile. It's good to be able to. A soccer player should be able to play all the positions on the field. At least know them. There are going to be some, you may ask me, Roy, you're a striker, but I need you to go play left back. I won't play it as good as I know how to play the striker, but I'll know what to do in that position. So in our club, player development is really critical. We have a player development model too as well, where it illustrates what the characteristics are for that position. Let's just say a forward. Here's the characteristics of a forward. They're good with playing with their back towards the goal. They're good at trapping. They're good at playing the ball and moving off the ball. They're good at going 1v1 against players. When they lose the ball, they have to track back, and being a defensive posture.
Defensive posture.
That's right. Okay. Instead of just staying up top, I lost the ball, so what? No, we get back. So that's having the ball and not having the ball. So we teach that at Gulf Coast as well.
Okay. So it's kind of what I'm getting is kind of a mix between coaches assessing the skill, the position the kids love, and just developing them at that point.
Correct.
And don't get too locked in too early.
Not too early, no.
Okay.
Not at
all. I mean, that's what sometimes coaches like to do that. Well, you playing this is the only position you play.
No, that's like detrimental, really.
Yeah.
You let them play many positions.
You can learn the game overall from every aspect. Makes you a better player.
Correct.
So, good stuff. So, now comes to the point of the show that everybody loves, Dad.
Yeah.
So, I don't, normally I do my little show notes. I send it out, have a little brief, give a summation of what we're going to talk about. But now I like to put people on the spot at the end of the show. So, first, what's the website again? So parents can get onto the Gulf Coast soccer website?
They can just they can Google
Gulf Coast Soccer.
Club,
okay.
It's GCYSC.com.
GCYSC.com, and Twitter account, same thing. Twitter.
It's at GC Soccer. I think 1981 is the founding year, so it's GC Soccer 1981.
Okay. All right. Make sure you guys Google that. Check out the website. We will have all that information on the on a Facebook page, so they can reach out to you guys, get involved with your soccer program. I'm impressed in regards to like talking about how you develop. I'm all about developing developing a child and developing a kid and teaching them the fundamentals. That's my biggest thing. I figure if a kid learns the fundamentals now, it just aids them better as they age and get older in the sport. So like Tim Duncan, what they call him, the big fundamental. I mean, he couldn't be stopped. It was a basic turnaround, shoot off the backboard, but he averaged 25 points and 10 rebounds his career doing that fundamentals.
Made a lot of money doing it.
Made a lot of money doing it. So good. So I hear a lot of good things from you guys' program, just the overall development of not just a player, but having the resources for the parent to actually help develop the player further at home. Because a lot of American parents don't know a lot about soccer. A lot of us didn't play soccer. My kids play soccer. And I just don't. I'm like, well, now I'm Googling stuff on YouTube. How can I help them get better at this? How can I help them get better at that? But the fact that your organization provides those tools for parents as well to kind of help support your methodology and coaching is real good. It's real good. Plus, you have a better program because of that.
That's right. We try.
We try. Y'all try. Hey, man, that's all you can do is try.
That's right.
What you say? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So we can try and let the people come. So.
That's right.
All right. So I'll let y'all decide who's gonna go first. But what I like to do is always kind of give the words of wisdom. You're like something that you want to leave the people with to take home, like something to think about and just kind of digest as they go forward throughout the week to kind of end the podcast with. So who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Roy.
So, Roy, what you want to leave the people with, Roy? So Daryl can kind of. We'll give Daryl another question.
Let the pro go first.
Let the pro go first.
Okay, all right. Thanks for putting me out there. Okay, for me, I build a lot of things around soccer because that's just something I just know and I have a lot of passion for. But for me, for any athlete, and it doesn't have to be for athletics, to win the battle, you got to have your armor. To win the battle, you got to have your armor. You got to be ready for that. And so that I say that for soccer, to get out there and be able to compete and be able to try to win the game, you got to be armed up. You got to have your tools ready. You got to have your training has to be intact, and you got to be ready and you got to be prepared. So to be able to win a battle, you got to be prepared and ready for that. And that's in life too. You got to just kind of be prepared and be ready for things, and you can usually tackle anything that comes your way.
There you go, some good stuff. Right
Yeah,
there.
I like that, Roy.
There you go.
Speaking
All right,
my
Daryl.
language.
What you got, Daryl? I'm just.
Well, I think for me, what we try to do is just continuously try to get better at everything we do every day, and it's all about the players. If the players are not enjoying themselves, if they're not improving, if they're not getting better, if they're not advancing, well, we're not doing what they're asking us to do or trusting us to do. So we try to focus all of our efforts on those things, and part of that is bringing in experienced, high-level coaches and players to be a mentor for them and share their experiences with them to help them, let them believe that they can be whatever they want to be if they dream it and they work hard at it. And then as an organization, just try to keep investing in the resources that can make it a better environment for the kids. And that means bringing in more coaches, right? That have a bigger and broader view of the game. Sorry.
We was worried about that microphone the whole, but hey, it fell on us in the last 2 minutes, so that's good.
Yeah, so that's pretty much how I would sum it up. Just keep working and trying to get better as an organization and hiring good people to bring them in to help us do the things that maybe we can't do in-house or ourselves.
Yeah. And one thing I like about what you said is, like, if a kid is not enjoying it or not having fun, you can say, what are we doing to not provide this kid the resources to get better? And that's just key. I remember Ben Bergeron always says that is if somebody's not progressing in their workouts, he looks at himself, doesn't blame the person. So what am I not providing this person to where they're not enjoying the sport?
Yeah. That's correct.
Falls back on the coach.
And that's why coaching education and coaching mentorship is the biggest job. And that's why Roy doesn't directly coach teams himself. He coaches the coaches, right?
And you need somebody to coach the
coaches.
coaches.
Are his teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's right.
it's a lot of people to manage, but hey.
It is.
So, man, I just want to thank you guys for coming onto the show and actually give a round of applause. You guys were the first ones to be in the new studio.
Yep.
Oh, awesome.
I literally came in at 5:30 today, and the guys were finishing wrapping it up. The A to Z guys who kind of oversee all this, finishing wrapping everything up, putting everything together. So this y'all the first guest we had in our new studio in 2021. We appreciate y'all guys coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man. Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you.
This was a really interesting show.
And it's it. And definitely have you guys come back on and talk some more soccer and just some more methodology and just continue to just. I would like to see the game grow more in Southeast Texas, and it comes by just getting it out there, getting it popular, putting it in front of people, because we got a lot of kids that enjoy playing soccer.
That is amen to that, brother.
A lot of kids that enjoy playing soccer and need that right coaching and right direction and keep them going in the right direction. So, all right, thank you guys for coming, and thank you out there for listening to the show. Once again, you can find us on MOF Podcast on Instagram, YouTube, Massive Fitness Podcast, Facebook, Massive Fitness Podcast. We finally got over 500 YouTube subscribers. So that was a big deal for us. We've been pushing. We finally got over that hump. So continue to download us on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, wherever you watch anything at, you can find us there. We're available. So once again, thank you guys for coming on the show, and we'll be seeing y'all next time.
Drop.